The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization that encourages informed and active participation in government and in the democratic process. It works to increase understanding of major public policy issues and influences public policy through education and advocacy. We neither endorse nor oppose candidates or political parties. We do take positions on issues which we have studied and reached consensus. For our forums this year, we are partnering with the American Association of University Women, and those members of that organization, would you just raise your hand and identify yourselves? They're helping tonight. And the Department of Elections and Voter Registration of Snohomish County, and Mr. Fell is here someplace nearby. And, of course, the Snow Isle Public Libraries, and Michael DeLury, the Lynnwood Library manager, is somewhere on the premises. And we thank them for this room. This community partnership enables us to pool our resources to provide neutral and unbiased information for the public on election issues. And of course, the mission of Snow Isle Libraries is to be a community doorway to reading, resources, and lifelong learning, and a center for people, ideas, and culture. 2 items were waiting for you on your seat. I had copies of them, but anyway, they are They Represent You, a little booklet with all of your, there it is, and a vote411.org bookmark. So look those over. The booklet list contains information for all the elected officials of not only Snohomish County, but the state and the nation. And League of Women Voters produces, publishes, and distributes this They Represent You each year, or every time there's an election, and it's free to everyone. The vote411.org is an online site for you to see which races and issues will be on your ballot in the upcoming election. You just put in your address and it'll bring up your ballot. This is a project of the National League of Women Voters, and the Washington State Leagues are participating. When you get to the candidates for a specific race, you can read the answers to the questions the League has posed on the issues of that race in our county, or you can see which candidates have chosen not to answer the questions. And there are a few who haven't gotten around to that yet. We told the candidates they could put literature around the room, but I think people are sitting on the tables, so I'm sure the candidates would be happy to give you any literature that you might require. And before the forum begins, I'd like to invite any candidates that are not on our agenda tonight to please stand and be recognized. If you're a candidate for any other office, either in the primary or the general election. Yes, sir, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Randy Hayden, Charter Review Commissioner.
Charter Review, thank you.
Council District 3.
Thank you, Randy. Al Rutledge, Edmond City Council. Anyone else? Okay, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. Lisa Utter, Charter Review, okay. Now, on your agenda are listed all the candidates for the races presented this evening with an indication of which candidates are able to attend. And in some cases, a candidate is sending a representative to read a statement for them. The format for this evening is as follows. Each candidate or representative will give a 2-minute opening statement. After opening statements, I will pose the questions to candidates only, and the questions will be in the standard question-answer format. Questions are selected from questions developed in advance by League members, as well as questions submitted by the audience. The first candidate asked to respond will have 90 seconds to answer. The remaining candidate will have 60 seconds. The presentation for each race will close with each candidate giving a 1-minute closing statement. We will begin statements with the individual who is listed last on the ballot for each race and then alternate, and this will be easy. We just go back and forth. So our first, let's see. Oh, I need to tell you that we have a timekeeper. The first candidates asked to respond to a question will have 90 seconds, and the remaining candidate will have 60, and our timekeeper will hold up a red card when it's time to stop. Our timekeeper for this evening is League member Janet Kolupnik, and she is sitting in the front row and will show the cards to you. Yellow for 30 seconds left and red for time's up. Time limits on statements and answers will be strictly enforced. When you see the red, you are done. And finally, we ask audience members to hold your applause until the end of the program and not express support or opposition to a candidate at any time during the forum. Thank you very much for that, and we will begin with our Snohomish County Council District Number 2, Greg Tisdel and Brian Sullivan. And Brian, since you're the last one listed, you get to start with your 2-minute statement, please.
Okay, well, thank you.
Would you please pick up the microphone and turn it on?
Hello, can you hear me?
Sure. I think it's good. It's not,
Hello?
they can't hear you. It's only the TV that can hear you.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll have to speak up and speak into the microphone. So, well, thank you. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this event tonight. It's always an honor, to come and speak to groups and a public forum. So I'm Brian Sullivan. I am presently the incumbent. I represent Mukilteo, Everett, and Tulalip, 140,000 constituents. And I'm running for my third and final term. So I have a little bit of a long history, of course. My mentor, it's nice to be in Lynnwood, by the way. My mentor was Herc Herdlicka, the former mayor, when I was the mayor of Mukilteo. So, and I have lots of Herc stories if you want to give me a call sometime. So when I was elected to the Mukilteo City Council when I was 23. I was the mayor of Mukilteo when I was 29. I served 7 years in the Washington State House of Representatives and the last 7.5 years on the Snohomish County Council. My many goals are, of course, transportation and infrastructure, budget, public safety, mental health is at the very top of my list, and many, many, many more issues. I was proud to, as a matter of fact, recently go to the bill signing invited by the governor's office. I worked on the $700 million package for Snohomish County with Senator Leas. And was proud to be at the bill signing and bring a lot of projects to Snohomish County. Very excited about that. On mental health, of course, I've been working very hard and diligently for mental health services and service delivery. And I'm proud to say that we have $7 million a year in cash flow from the Mental Health Fund to do just that. And we're putting together programming to help solve that problem. And that goes along with homelessness as well. And I'd like to thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you. Would you pass the microphone to Greg now? Greg, you have 2 minutes.
You said start? Yes. Okay. Hi, I'm Greg Tisdel, and as well, I would like to thank everybody for being here. It's great to see people out here. I think that's the best part of running for election, and I've talked to thousands of folks so far, and thanks for you being here. I'm a workhorse, and he's a show horse. Why am I running? It's time for a change. We've got to get the financial sanity back into the courthouse. There's projects like the courthouse itself that's going on, the bond rating and other things. We've really got to make sure that we're taking care of those things, and it's time for transparency. What's going on in the courthouse and just the budget process is a good example. The insider stuff that's going on, some of these pay raises that were put forward for the top officials in executive's office, things like that. It's time that we be straight up and show people what's going on. Time for a new voice, an elected official who wants to show up for their responsibilities. I think that I know that this economic surge that we have upon us right now, it's not going to last forever, and we really have to make sure that we're taking advantage and positioning ourselves to bring as many jobs and things to the county. I've been told by people who have worked with me about things like Pat McLean, who tracked all the military for the home port, Ed Hansen, who worked on the Ed Hansen Center, Senator McCoy and Sells.
Thank you, Greg.
You bet. That was a quick one.
Now I have some questions. Regarding the budget, whose budget are we currently working with, the executives or the county councils? And do you have ideas for raising other revenue? Greg?
Right now, the county executive has delivered his budget to the council, and the council.
You need to have the microphone, please.
Sorry about that. The county council has the executive's budget, and they are going through that budget right now and making their recommendations back to the county executive.
And do you have some ideas about raising revenues?
I think that as much as I can get out of the budget, there are revenues that can be gathered from things that are currently there. We have some space in the courthouse, we have some space in the jail that's unoccupied, and there are other things like that yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. I think you thought I was asking him two questions. It was really all just one question. So, Brian,
Yeah.
same question. Tell us about the budget and what ideas you have for raising revenues.
Well, Snohomish County is the 50th largest county in the country. We have 850,000, roughly 800,000 people that live here. We have an $850 million budget, and like any budget, you know, it's up and down. It's good with reserves, and certain times of the year the reserves are down. So the executive has not delivered his budget yet. We will not get it until probably September by county charter. But the budget we are presently working under is the budget passed by the county council. And pretty much written by the county council. The executive's only job under the charter is to present us with a budget. And then we take the budget, we rip it apart, and we put it back together again. Snohomish County is a very decentralized form of government. We have an assessor, an auditor, a treasurer, the sheriff. We have 5 elected positions. And so the county council is the only operating body that oversees all of those operations. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Now hang on to that microphone. Are you for or against commercial service at Payne Field, and why?
Well, I started on the Payne Field issue when I was in high school. The first meeting I went to was an opposition group in Mukilteo at the Rose Hill Community Center when I was 18 years old. Of course, I was the mayor of Mukilteo and on the city council. Really, my take on Payne Field is it is a manufacturing base, and I cannot find an industrial airport that's successful anywhere in the country that does both. So we want to concentrate on jobs, high-paying jobs, manufacturing jobs, and we also want to maintain people's quality of life in and around the airport. I could talk all day about the mediated agreement. I could talk all day that Harbor Point in Mukilteo was 3,000 acres of heavy industrial property that was, because of the mediated agreement, was then rezoned by the county for single-family housing. I could talk about that stuff all day, but fact of the matter is people move to Snohomish County for the good schools, the good roads, the quality of life, and for the inconvenience of driving the SeaTac. So to be quite honest with you, I've always opposed commercialization of Payne Field.
Go ahead.
Hello. I probably the last 15 years have been in support of commercial air service at Payne Field. A few reasons. One is that is a county asset, and there's a way to make revenue from that. And part of that is to make sure that you're utilizing the assets of the county when you're in this position. The original deed that was given by the Air Force to the county when the land swap was done said that one of the needs or one of the requirements was that commercial air service was allowed. And to keep the grant assurances, that's the funding, so that they can keep that airport open so that Boeing and other manufacturing people can operate out of there. That is a critical thing, because without that funding, we would not be able to keep some of the jobs that we have out there. Also, there are quite a few. If you go to where the 787 plant is in Charlotte, it is also an airport.
Thank you, Greg. Hold on to that microphone, please, and tell us if you believe that the current partisan positions should be rendered nonpartisan. For county council, they are partisan positions. Should they be made nonpartisan?
I would say they shouldn't be made partisan, because in what I've learned through this, there are Republicans out there that I talk to, and there are Democrats out there, and I don't know why we would change what has been pretty successful through the years. So I would leave that up to the charter review to go through and dig into that. But as far as, are there problems with the county council because it is a partisan position, I would say no, there aren't. I think you can look at the county council that we have and that we have had, and we've had Democrats and Republicans from this area. We've had Democrats and Republicans from the other areas. So I think a mix-up every once in a while is good.
Thank you. Same question, Dave.
Or Brian.
Brian, I'm sorry.
Hey, that's okay. No worries. No worries. We're a creature of the state constitution, the federal constitution. It's a two-party system. If you go to the King County Council that's nonpartisan, you really know who the Democrats are. You really know who the Republicans are. So I think, keeping it real and keeping it live and picking our club. I'm a lifetime Democrat, raised in a Democratic household, and I just honestly believe in the party system. I believe in our Constitution, and I believe that's the way it's meant to be. But having said that, at the county level, we fill potholes, we run jails, we issue wedding licenses, we deal with some big social issues for single mothers, for instance, and veterans issues. But for the most part, we all work together. And I think that's true in any partisan body. 99% of the business, is everybody agrees. So I'm in favor of keeping the positions partisan.
Thank you. And here is our last question. What is your perspective on the issue of climate change, and what, if anything, do you think the county should be doing about this issue?
That's me.
That's you, Brian.
Thank you. So climate change is a very serious issue. No matter whether you agree who causes climate change or who doesn't cause climate change, what we know is it's happening. And so the county has to do its part. I've been working on the long haul contract, 450,000 tons of garbage we haul out of Snohomish County every year. And we want to make sure that garbage goes to sequestered in an appropriate landfill, that the gases created from that are recycled and used to create energy, that we use the lowest carbon footprint possible to transport that byproduct, that waste. That's just one issue. I just recently worked on a new bill in Olympia too for building an infill to provide additional incentives for cities and counties across the state to reduce a fraction of some taxes in lieu of new solar panels and alternative energies. So we could do a lot.
Greg?
Climate change, when you look at, I've served on Puget Sound Air Pollution's advisory board for 30-some years, and our number one pollutant in this area are automobiles. And so one of the biggest things the county can do is work on some traffic solutions and enhance the transit solutions that are out there, and really look at how and what they could do to push this ST3 and how we can make that thing work, because we've got to do whatever we can do to provide a convenient transportation mode besides automobiles. And I'm not for pushing people out of cars. I'm saying if it's convenient, people will use it. And right now it's not convenient. A recycling program. As Brian said, we haul millions of tons of garbage every year out of Snohomish County, and we don't have a very good package of recycling countywide, and I would push that as well because that's less you got to move, and you can take care of it right here.
Thank you. I think we'll go to our closing statements now, and Greg, you may go first.
Well, I'll talk fast because 2 minutes goes. So I'm filled with hope, passion. I got a true commitment to present new ideas, listen to the people I've listened to, and carry those out. I can listen much better than any incumbent because when you're new, it's like your grandchildren. They're paying more attention. I find the longer somebody's been in office, the less their tolerances are to listen to good ideas, and they always want to go back to listen to their friends and their foes. And I want to put together a new partnership like the business that I've already asked to participate in this streets initiative to bring some funding mechanisms to that thing besides the counties and the state funding. And I'm excited to listen and learn to the voters of the 2nd District and take actions on what they're interested in. Thank you, and vote Greg.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Do I get to?
I'm
I'll be short. That's all right.
1 minute, Brian. Sorry.
Well, again, I'd like to thank the league and for this forum. It's always educational for people who put themselves out there for public service. So, at one point in time, I remember I was called a career politician. So I may have picked the wrong career. $8 a meeting as a city council member, $300 a month as a mayor, and less than $30,000 a year in the state legislature. So having no retirement and still having a passion for public service is not a bad thing. So I've got extensive experience in municipal budgeting, land use, Growth Management Act, public safety, mental health, and I still have the energy. And I promise you, I will be out there working hard and making the appropriate contacts. And I'll be at those signings with the governor and with the state legislature because I work as a former member down the legislature. I have all those contacts, and I want to continue to represent our quality of life and our way of living up here and our good schools and continue to work on our transportation systems. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Now I'm going to exert the privilege of being in control of the podium and say that next we will have the Lynnwood City Council people up. And I don't think that the people who are running for county council would like to be up here without one of their members discussing and being able to give and take. Is that okay? Oh, well, Mr. Lovick is here, so perhaps I stand corrected. We will go now into the county executive positions. Wave them around, and this lady in the pink blouse will pick them up. Marion, card.
I'm sorry from sitting up here. Is it Robert? Robert, I'll put you in. North?
Well, I want the Well, I thank you all for your flexibility, and we will now get started with our 5 candidates for the Snohomish County Executive. Oh. And I am, I hope that's the right. Again, they will each make an opening statement of 2 minutes, and then we will do the questions and answers, and then they will have a 1-minute closing statement, if I remember to let them all have one. So I will start by going backwards on this agenda. So Mr. James Robert Deal, we'll start with you for a 2-minute opening statement. Would you please grab the microphone and speak into it for the television camera? It's on.
Is it on? I'm James Robert Deal. I've been an attorney for 37 years, graduated from the University of Washington. I'm also a real estate broker. As an attorney, what I do is help do foreclosure defense and save people's homes and do mortgage modification. Now, I don't want to talk too much about my background. You can read about it at jamesrobertdeal.org. There's an About section. I want to talk about issues. I'm the issues candidate. The other guys ignore the issues. And they say they have experience, but they have experience doing the wrong things or not doing the right things. Now, I'm the one who's against putting toxic waste in your drinking water. And the other candidates either ignore the issue or they're in favor of it. You know, we're going to look back on this and say, how could we have been so bamboozled to buy this toxic waste and put it in our drinking water? It's a waste of money, $300,000 a year. Now the World Health Organization has declared that Roundup is a carcinogen. So why are we spraying it everywhere on the Lynnwood streets? Why is it allowed for farming? France banned the sale of Roundup. Sri Lanka banned and declared their country an organic country. Nepal has done the same thing. Snohomish County could be an organic county. Our farmers would get rich. We would be a lot more healthy. And I'll tell you what, Roundup and fluoride both kill salmon. So how can you be for salmon recovery and be in favor of fluoridation or Roundup? Now, I'm also in favor of a nonpartisan county council, because the issues that divide Republicans and Democrats have no applicability to the county, just like they don't apply to the city council. And so we ought to go nonpartisan. And I'm also 100% opposed to Paynefield being a commercial airport. If you start down that road, it will grow, and there's no way to stop it. You can't have a little of it, because it'll be SeaTac North in a few years.
Mr. Nunnally, 2-minute opening statement, please.
Is it on?
Yes, you're on.
It is on. Well, I'm Norm Nunnally, and I'm running for this office because when I got down to the filing date and I saw that the my two leading opponents were the only 2 filed at the time, I said, that's not right. So I have never in my mind wanted to run for an office, and as a matter of fact, I've been a Republican involved in politics for a long time, since I was 18 years old. I've helped many people get elected. You might remember a guy by the name of Clyde Ballard years ago as a Speaker of the House. I was the guy that asked him to allow us to put his name in as a fire commissioner. I came from a long time ago in the 50s. I lived in the hills and above Republic, and I lived in a log cabin with lodgepole window bars, and I never expected to be on a dais like this. Never wanted to be. I spent 39 years in the military doing a lot of management and leadership. Okay, I have owned corporations. I've just formed a new corporation. As a nurse for 30 years, I've worked in all levels of nursing. I've worked in NICUs, PICUs, trauma units, burn units, field units, wear the expert field medical badge, and I was a special forces medic, So I've got a lot of experience in the background in how to lead people and how to manage people. And we have a very big vacuum of leadership in this county. We need to get professionalism reintroduced to this county. We need to get respect of the county reintroduced to the people, okay? So I'm Norm Nunnally, and I would like you to vote for me for County Executive.
Just leave the microphone on. Yeah.
My turn?
Yeah, your turn, Dave.
This doesn't project.
No, it's only for the television.
Good evening. I'm Dave Summers. I'm chair of the Snohomish County Council. I'm in my 4th term on the county council. I'm the only councilman ever elected to 4 terms. I'm very proud of that. 5th term as county chairman, represent the southeast part of the county. I'm extremely familiar with all facets of county government. I've served as the chair of our Planning and Land Use Committee for many years. I serve on the Regional Council on transportation issues. I'm very active in efforts to clean up Puget Sound. And I know the issues for you, transportation, good jobs, quality of life. An issue that's driving me I want to talk about is our budget situation at the County Council. We're having a budget crisis. We're at all-time low in our reserves at the County Council, down between 5 and 6% are at the county. This has been brought on by a number of issues, but a number of them been associated with John's actions over the years, and that's why I'm running. We're fellow Democrats. I've supported John in the past. He supported me. In fact, I worked for 2 years to get the Human Rights Commission established here in Snohomish County, and I know, John, that's an issue near and dear to John's heart. But our financial situation is extreme. We're looking at layoffs at the county. John's given raises to the top paid employees at the county. I had to fight against that. He eliminated the finance director position. I had to put it back in the budget. We still don't have a permanent finance director. I proposed spending $5 million of money we raised for the new courthouse project on other things. I had to fix that in the budget. So there's been one thing after another which really caused me to run. I just want to say I'm experienced. I know how to balance a budget. I've done it many times. I know how to control costs. I know how to run the departments. I know every facet of county government. And I'd like your support to be your next county executive.
My name is Robert James Sutherland. I'm a proud veteran of the United States Air Force. I'm a graduate of Gonzaga University. I earned my biochemistry degree there. I've spent my time in my career here in the Puget Sound researching and developing cancer therapies. I retired in 2009. I began volunteering, helping good candidates get elected, because at that time we all know the economy throughout our country was deteriorating, and there were many pressing problems that needed to be addressed. I began volunteering. Last year, I ran my first race ever. I ran for U.S. Congress against Susan Del Bene and Pedro Celis, a Democrat and a Republican. I'm a Republican, but equal opportunity candidate, if you will. If I don't like you, if I don't think you are the correct person to represent me, then I will run against you, and that's what I chose to do. Both millionaires, I am not. In that race, I was outspent $288,000 to my 4. When the polls closed, I was ahead. Here in Snohomish County, I was outspent $72,000 to my 1, and I won Snohomish County 17 to 12%. I have never been elected to public office before, and I count that as an absolute positive. It's what voters want. We have career politicians here. Thank you for your service. I'm not criticizing the fact that they've been here for so long. We have term limits in Snohomish County for a reason. Thank you for your service. Now move along. Let's get some new blood in here, some people that have some ideas. We got budget woes. With all this experience we have, we've got budget woes. We're down from 11% in our county reserves down to 5%. We're facing massive layoffs perhaps next year of I'll call them not lower level, but lower paid county employees. And at a time when the budget is going down, we're going bankrupt, and we're facing layoffs, we got an executive that is giving pay raises, huge pay raises. Has anyone here ever received a 29% pay raise? That's what we're giving out right now. It's not right. I'm here to change stuff like that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sutherland.
So first of all, good evening, and I want to thank you for your patience because I was a little bit late. I was at another event in Everett. To start with, I want to tell you that the sky is not falling. And when people try and tell you that the sky is falling, I want to start by telling you this. I represent and I'm county executive of the best county in the United States of America. Bar none. This is the best county in the United States of America. We have the lowest jobless rate at 3.6%. People are working. Things are going exceptionally well. My background is this. I served 13 years in the United States Coast Guard. I spent 31 years as a state trooper patrolling Interstate 5 and patrolling this area. I served 5 years as an elected official on the Mill Creek City Council. I spent 6 years as your elected sheriff, and I also spent 9 years in the state legislature, positions that I am extremely honored and humble that I had the opportunity to do. I'm the county executive. I was appointed just a little bit over 2 years ago, and every single county in this state, for the most part, is having budget challenges, and we're having challenges too. But we're going to deal with those challenges. I want you to know this. When you listen to a council chairman tell you all of the issues about the budget, the first thing you need to ask him or her is whose budget and who writes the budget. The county executive, so that you will know this, controls less than 25% of the county budget. There are 6 other independently elected officials. Public safety takes a huge portion of our budget. I'm here to tell you this, that the sky truly is not falling. And when people decide to run for office, that's what they're going to tell you every single day. They're going to try and convince you that the sky is falling. The sky is falling. You're here because you care about your government. You're here because you care about this community. And I'm serving because I care tremendously about this community. And I want to thank the League of Women Voters for having this forum. This is great. Thank you very, very much. And thank all of you for being here.
And next will be, we're ready for questions now. Okay. So the first person to answer the question will have 90 seconds, and then the people following that will have 60 seconds. Is that correct? Well, here's a biggie. The Snohomish County Commission has just completed the 2015 review and update of urban growth areas, which is required by the Growth Management Act. This update is based on the state's projection of an increase in population of 250,000 people in Snohomish County by 2035. Please comment on the major items in this update and how they will affect the county's current residents. Mr. Nunnally?
90 minutes?
90 seconds.
I must admit, like many of my predecessor elected officials, I have not had a chance to read this thing. However, I've had meetings as a board member of the Snohomish County Farm Bureau, a briefing from Tom Rowe, who gave us a good understanding of what was actually in the new comprehensive plan. There are good things in it, and there are some that were questionable to me. However, you can't just throw it aside because something is questionable to me. There are things in it that are very important. There is a small item in there about being able to build commercial property on a farm. Only 10% of the farm can be used for that operation. But that commercial little piece of development will help struggling farmers to meet the rest of their financial needs for the rest of the year.
Thank you. And next, Dave Summers.
Thank you. I serve as chair of our Planning and Land Use Committee, and I'm also on the Puget Sound Regional Council and chair of the Growth Management Policy Board. We just passed the 10-year update. It looks at planning for the next 30 years of growth, actually. And the alternative that I put forward, had to fight for to get, was alternative 1, which emphasized more growth within the city of Everett. Everett has the zone capacity in many of their areas, former industrial areas, around the downtown core, around the transit center, around the college, to accept the growth. John's proposed alternative was to put more growth down here in South County. I think we've had enough down here, and we haven't really made up with the infrastructure needs down here. So I promoted, and we'll work with the city to promote more growth, an emphasis more in Everett and North County where we can provide transit and transportation. And just so you know, the city of Everett voted to support that in Vision 2040. They're having some concerns about it now, which I'm sure Don will tell you about, but I really support the idea of doing more infill in the city of Everett and rebuilding that city.
The Growth Management Act is necessary. We're expected to have 250,000 people move in Snohomish County in the next 20 or 30 years. And you need to manage that. You need to plan for infrastructure and hospitals, schools, and roads and things like that. So the GMA is necessary. My concern with the GMA, the Growth Management Act, is that when you get individuals that have agendas and they want to take a large portion of that growth and shove them into cities. Single-family homes are going to be underrepresented in some of these plans, and that's what we have to be concerned with. If you're in a single-family home now, and if less and less homes are available as the population grows, the prices of those homes will go up. Your children and mine will not be able to afford to live where we live right now and enjoy the kind of lifestyle that we enjoy right now. So that's what I'm concerned with, is when you get individuals in office that have agendas that want to shove everyone in the city and have no one living out on their single family, in their single family homes, I have a problem with that. And so I'll look after property owners and single family homes within that Growth Management Act.
I know my opponent said that he was sure I was going to tell you about some of the concerns of the city of Everett. I'm not going to tell you about those concerns. I will just simply say, tell you about a letter that the mayor wrote to all of the council members saying that it was intellectually dishonest to expect them to be able to handle the growth. But having said that, what I'm most proud of about this comprehensive plan that my planning and development services put together, and we worked well with the county council. I mean, I know people talk about us having disagreements on a lot of things. We put the plan together 6 months ahead of time. I serve on the Puget Sound Regional Council. They told me that it was one of the best plans that they had seen. There were a lot of recommendations that we made, specifically 20 recommendations. Of those 20 recommendations, 19 of them were accepted by the county council. It's a process that I feel showed what good government is all about. There are a lot of good things, but it's also, I will tell you this, the comprehensive plan is also more than just about growth. It's about quality of life. And we need to look at things like what kind of quality of life. I saw the red flag go up.
And Mr. Deal.
It should not be necessary to own a car to get around. We should have door-to-door transit. This wasn't possible before, but now we've invented smartphones, and Uber has proved that it's possible to summon a ride and be delivered where you want to go. The cost, if there's 5 people in a van or 6 people in a van, the cost for me to get to the park and ride is $2. $4 a day times 20 working days, $80 a month. That would be the real cost. A flex van system would pay for itself. And then we'd fill up the freeway buses, and we'd have a third less cars driving on the freeway. Now you can put whatever you want in a growth projection or growth plan, but if you don't deal with this problem with traffic on the roads and the freeways, we're all going to be miserable. So, and are we serious about global warming? There's news now that it's inevitable that the sea levels are going to rise 10 feet in the next 50 years. So are we serious about it?
Thank you, Mr. Deal. Would you hand the microphone to Dave Summers now, and we'll start with him for the next question. How do you feel about, and what can you do about the trains traveling in our county which carry coal and oil? Coal trains are uncovered and the oil has explosive properties.
So we very much at the county support Senator Cantwell's federal bill to get funding to improve rail grade separations. The train traffic, I live outside of Monroe. The trains come racing through there down off the mountain. So the danger is real. It's real along the coastline here. The bigger problem is our dependency on oil and coal. That's what's driving that train traffic. traffic. The county doesn't really have any control over the trains. We have very few rail crossings that are actually in the county. They're mostly in cities. But we support efforts to make the cars safer, to make the rail crossings safer. But in the end, we have to get off of coal and oil, frankly, to reduce that traffic. So, and I was a biologist before I got on the county council, so I could talk to you a lot about climate change and that sort of thing. But that's the essence of my answer.
Thank you.
And I agree with Dave. We all want to limit the amount of fossil fuels that we're burning and putting, the pollutants into the air, therefore decreasing the amount that we need to truck in and ship here by train. There are alternative ways of shipping these things if we need to. Some places they have pipelines to pipe oil. More efficient ways of doing things like that. So there's a variety of things we can do that reduce the amount we use and then create safer methods of transportation if need be. One thing as far as reducing the amount we use, the county, the state is talking about a $15 billion light rail system. If the county and the state were to work together and pay drivers, single drivers going to work, pay them to pick up other people, work out through like an Uber system, $200 another person. If I put 3 other people in my car, that's $600. That reduces 3 cars off the road. Traffic is a breeze. We reduce the amount of carbon we're putting out.
Thank you.
And that's one of the ways we can solve some of these problems.
And let me just say this. I know my opponents are absolutely right. We have no control over this, but a great president and a great 5-star general once said that plans are nothing, but planning is everything. We can plan. We can work with that industry and make sure that they provide adequate information to us. To sit around and say we can't do anything, that's what we need to do. Is we need to work with the industry to make sure that they provide us the adequate information if there's a disaster. Hopefully there never will be one, but we also had hoped that we wouldn't have some of the other terrible disasters we've had. And the fact that we have a good Department of Emergency Management in a position to address those issues, that we can work with other communities, we need to plan for those things. But I see absolutely nothing wrong with holding that industry accountable and making sure that they let us know what they're shipping through this area, when they're shipping it through this region, and those are the things that I feel we can do. And we do that by working with our congressional delegation, and that's what we're trying to do now, is work with our senators, work with our Congress.
Thank you, Mr. Lovick.
60 seconds is not a long time.
I know.
I was just warming up.
The question about coal trains.
Each coal train loses about 1,000 pounds of coal dust in its transit from the Powder River. And that's loaded with mercury, and it drives right along our shorelines, polluting our fisheries. And the Lummies are going to have their way of life destroyed, and I would join with them. I would sue Burlington Northern for common law littering. They're littering along our roads and our railways. Now, with regard to the oil trains, they could filter out the naphtha. That's why it's so explosive. Other oil is not as explosive, but why does Burlington Northern want to ship it raw out here? It's like it's a bomb. Whatever legal action that can be taken against oil trains coming through our county, I, as an attorney, will figure it out.
Mr. Nunnally here.
Yesterday, your governor indicated that his intention was to mandate a new low-carbon fuel standard and shift $1 billion of the new transportation package to roads from bike paths and other green projects. As a lifelong conservative, with an equal period of time as a functional conservationist, I will tell you that the current rush to contain carbon emissions as an answer to climate change conditions is a drought is a fallacy. We cannot we cannot spend our way out of poverty any more than you can spend your way out of natural global cycle of cleansing we are going through. The idea that the low carbon standard would reduce carbon emissions by about 10% and cost upwards of 50 cents a gallon, or about $250 per vehicle per year. To get the same 10% tonnage reduction in emissions using open market carbon offsets would be about 8 cents per vehicle.
Thank you, Mr. Nunnally. And gentlemen, the recording people have asked that you put the microphone close to your mouth when you speak. They keep losing you, especially you, Mr. Deal. So you don't want to get lost. We don't want to lose you. Okay, here's an explosive issue. How do you feel about fireworks in our county, and what can you do about it? Can you support a ban? Can we have some enforcements? And I believe it's Mr. Sutherland, I believe you start this time.
I get to speak 90 seconds on fireworks.
You do.
I will admit I am not prepared for that one. 4th of July celebrations, I'm all for it. Obviously, in a situation like we find ourselves where, I mean, I'm on 5 acres and it's all brown and it's dangerous. We're in a forested community where we have, as a community, asked that people do not set off fireworks within the community. Perhaps cities might need to do the same under certain circumstances. Every year is going to be different. I think it's one of our traditions that I certainly don't want to see go away. If there are times and instances where we need to curtail it or pick areas where it might be more appropriate, or the city or county can put on shows for the citizenry to go and enjoy, you know, these are things we can look at, I guess. But to limit individual freedom and the celebration of say, the 4th of July, that cannot go away. I think we need to maintain what we've been doing for the past 200 and something years.
I'd love to know who sent that question in, because it's a great question. I'm asked that all the time. And let me just take you back just a little bit. The first year I was sheriff, 2008, I received a call from a lady, and she said, Sheriff Lovick, I would like to have you come to Mariner High School and take a look at what's going on here. I drove to Mariner High School, and I could not believe what I saw. The parking lot looked like a war zone. Now, at that very, very moment, I can promise you this, I would have supported a ban on fireworks on anything that made a sound because of what I saw then. But realistically, we know that it just wouldn't be feasible to have a ban on fireworks. What I would like to see, I would like to see more responsible use of fireworks. It would just have to be a way of doing it, maybe having a location where people can adequately go out and use them. But I don't know that a ban would work. The fact that so many would be coming in illegally, I think it would be just a difficult thing to do. Now, me personally, I don't use them, and my kids never use them, but I think it would be very, very difficult to have an outright ban on fireworks in this community.
I think we should ban fireworks countywide. I know it's an issue that causes some disagreement. Now, if the 4th of July were the 4th of January when it's raining, then it wouldn't be as much of an issue, but everything's ready to burn up in the summertime. I'm strongly in favor of having fireworks shows that are professionally done down at the Edmonds waterfront, down at the football field. But this goes back to the question of local control. Whether you're liberal or Democrat, we should believe in the concept of local control. If we want to be an organic county and they're spraying toxic waste on us, we should have the right to exercise control over things that affect us directly, that poison us. Then we use our police powers and our health regulations in order to control those things that affect us directly. So I'm in favor of local control. I'm sorry if you like to pop firecrackers. It's too dangerous, at least in July.
As opposed to John, I don't feel any approach at life safety is inappropriate. As a former fireman, EMT, paramedic, burn unit nurse, and with training at the Smoke Jumper Center in Missoula, there is never a conceivable substitute for or substantiation of the use of fireworks illegitimately. Okay, those should be conducted by commercial operations for viewing by the public, but just the willy-nilly fireworks going off, setting places on fire. I had a friend of mine that had lost a house because of it, and I've had friends in numerous parts of the state who have lost a lot of stuff by poor fire management.
Yes, well, I worked 18 years right next to Boom City out at Tulalip, and I don't like fireworks. I still, anything that you hear that explodes is already illegal, 100%, and we have no ability to really enforce it. I've talked with our current sheriff. He's very concerned about a ban because he thinks it's false expectations. There's no way he can enforce it. But I do think we need to have a conversation, because if our weather patterns, if it's going to be dry like this, I live out in the woods. I'm out in the sticks, and it was extremely scary. It takes 1 year. We have to do it 1 year in advance, and it takes probably 6 months to do. So we're 18 months out, and we need to do it if we're going to talk about it with our cities, because the cities have to be on board. Monroe, out in my district, sells fireworks. Snohomish sells fireworks. It's got to be consistent throughout the county. But I am getting increasingly concerned about fire.
We'll start with Mr. Lovick, and I have several questions from the audience that have to do with issues of everyday life regarding police brutality and racial profiling. So I'll give you the option to sort of take one of those topics and give us, in your case, Mr. Lovick, 90 seconds.
I'll start by saying this. I served 31 years as a state trooper, and I was sheriff of this county for 6 years. And there are very few things that trouble me more than police brutality. Racial profiling absolutely should not happen, should never happen. I worked very, very hard as a legislator. I sponsored the legislation to have law enforcement track their stops. But let me just talk just a little bit about racial profiling and just about race in general. I've been spending every Sunday for the last few Sundays visiting churches in my community. Because as difficult as a subject as this is for us to have, I am telling the community that at a minimum, we need to have a conversation about race. And when I say we need to have a conversation about race, I want to start it by saying this. We need to all get uncomfortable with the fact that we are going to be uncomfortable talking about this. But we're just not there yet. And so what I am saying, not just from the perspective of law enforcement, I am talking about it from the perspective of a community. I look around and I see these young people here today, and I see all of us here today. At a minimum, we owe it to them to lead the best world that we can. And if we stop and watch anything on TV, every day we see something that troubles us.
Thank you, Mr.
But what we
Lovick.
have to do is we have to take the time to talk to each other and to spend time getting to know each other. And I believe we just have to have
Your time is
an
up,
open and honest
Mr. Lovick.
conversation about race. And I'm taking the microphone down.
I 100% agree with what John is saying. This has to be a topic. Our nation committed a great sin for 300 years. And it's going to take many years for a lot of people to get out of that mentality. I'm very proud of the fact that we elected John Lovick, a man of color. And, but we can't stop the conversation. We have to be sensitive to these issues. We live in a world there are people blowing people up over religion. And I'm talking about what's happening in the Middle East and what happened in Chattanooga. And the churches that have been firebombed in the South. Now, fortunately, we're in a little bit more enlightened part of the country, but we're not all the way there. So the conversation should be continued, and I heartily support what John has said.
Thank you, Mr. Deal.
I agree wholeheartedly with Martin Luther King when he stated, wouldn't it be great when we could judge a man by his character and not by the color of his skin? In many years in the military, you have to deal with all races, nationalities. I've never in my career had any problems dealing with that. As a matter of fact, the only one time I did have a problem, I was accused of it, and all of the people of that minority stood up and said that if anything, he's prejudiced against white people. So I don't know. Leadership is a thing that it comes back to, okay? And leadership in the county filters down from the top. If you want to talk about just the problems between the blacks and the white, that's what we're going to have. We're going to have problems with the black and the white. So I think we just really need to respect each other and rely on who you're working with.
Thank you.
So I agree with everything. I think we're all in agreement on this. There should be zero tolerance for either police brutality or racial profiling. Several years ago, a group came to me and I worked with them for 2 years to put in place a human rights commission at Snohomish County so we could have some of these conversations. We do live in a more enlightened place, but we do have issues in this county that we need to talk about. And I'm perfectly comfortable talking about them. There should be zero tolerance. But we have not only black issues, white-black issues, as we've seen in other parts of the county. We have a large Hispanic population. There's issues there that need to be addressed. And so I agree we need to have that conversation, but coming from the county and county executive, zero tolerance. Sorry.
That's a hot topic. Let's start at the beginning. The first slave owner in this country, hundreds of years ago, was a black man. Forgot his name. Who owned another black man. It was due to debt. That's how slavery arose in this country. You became an indentured servitude servant if you went into debt. It degraded from there. 100 and something years later, white Christian men, they fought a war in the 1800s, and we had Emancipation Proclamation, and we freed the slaves, and we've been healing ever since. Sure, there's still problems today. I was a white kid in Los Angeles. I was beat up because I was white down there one time by some other people. It happens, it's real, it's ugly. We have laws against it. Anyone found guilty of whether police or civilians need to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. It's ugly, and we should have zero tolerance for that. Having said that, I doubt there's anyone in here who's a racist. I think we've come a long, long way, and frankly, I think we're being misled by many of our representatives trying to overplay the race card in today's politics, and I think that is something that is what we need to work on.
We didn't have a chance to talk about fiber optic internet. Mount Vernon is progressively installing it, and it is attracting high-tech business to Mount Vernon. And if you're tired of clicking and waiting, well, I am too. And the other issue I wanted to make sure got mentioned was smart meters. They're installing them all over King County now, and they are another scam, just like fluoridation. They catch on fire. They allow intrusion into your security. They use cell phone technology. Why not have a wired version of a digital meters? Now, I'm a critical thinker. I'm open-minded to everything. I am skeptical of everything. I'm a generally progressive and liberal and generous person, but I'm also pretty stingy when it comes to balancing a budget. So I urge you to consider me. I haven't been elected to the council before, but the people who were elected are avoiding the issues and doing the wrong things.
Thank you, Mr. Deal.
Well, I'm Norm Nunnally still. And over the years, I have successfully held and executed many levels of leadership, management, and directorship positions in local government, management, military, industry, politics, and civic organizations. I have successfully incorporated into all of these positions the skill sets necessary and essential for leadership, management, and personal relations and communications that enabled me to produce positive and effective results in all these areas. In Snohomish County, we hold a position of being a very good chance of being the leading county to bring us out of a recession that we're in. Nobody wants to say that word, but we are in it, okay? The ongoing turmoil in Greece is where our county is headed without serious change in voter government behaviors. I know how to cook a turkey, but better yet, I know how to bring home the bacon for better government in our county and improve the abilities of families to attain higher levels for their hierarchy of needs.
Thank you, Mr. Nunnally.
Well, I want to thank the League of Women Voters for having us here tonight. I would like to be your next county executive, your CEO, who is responsible day in and day out for all the employees at the county and implementing the budget that the county council sets. I'm proudly endorsed solely by the Seattle Times, the Everett Herald, Mayor Stephenson of the city of Everett. Also, uniquely, the Washington Conservation Voters, who's the premier environmental organization involved in these things, and the Affordable Housing Council, which is the master builders. I think that indicates I've worked really hard to bring people together to solve really tough problems, and I've done that throughout my career when I was a biologist and now on the county council. So I very much appreciate your support, and I'll work hard every day, balance the budget, zero tolerance. We'll work on the fireworks issue and all the other issues that I know are important to you: transportation, jobs, safe communities. So thank you. And I'm Dave Summers. I ask for your vote.
Again, I'm Robert J. Sutherland, a veteran of the Air Force, a scientist. I've never been elected to public office, and I do count that as a positive. If you like the direction Snohomish is going currently, we're going bankrupt, we're going to be laying off people, we got traffic congestion, property taxes increasing, and property rights decreasing. If you like that direction, by all means, we've got decades of experience for you to vote for. If you do not like that direction, you want to bring in someone new that will help solve these problems and turn that ship around, you have someone new right here. I'm not a stupid person. I'm a biochemist, did cancer drug development. We can solve budget problems. We can solve out-of-control property taxes, congestion on Highway 9 and some of our other roads. These are problems that are very fixable if we can get the cronyism and the mismanagement currently involved in our county government, if we can remove that. You guys have the power, we the people, you guys vote in and you guys vote out those who you like or those who you dislike. So we the people, here I am, I'm different than what we have there currently, so I appreciate a vote.
Well, good evening again, and I want to thank the four gentlemen. This has been a very, very polite forum, and I want to tell you that I continue to be honored to serve as county executive. My service to this community is well documented, and I plan to continue. I will tell you this: when you look around this county and see all of the great things that are happening in this county, the lowest jobless rate in the last 7 years, the highest employment rate in the last 7 years, safe schools. We have a transportation package, thanks to our legislature for passing that package, that's going to put $655 million in projects in this area. Those are great things in this community. I am proud to serve. I've served for 2 years, just over 2 years as county executive, and I wish to continue. And I will tell you this: I am going to work as hard as I've worked for the last 45 years of my public service to make sure that it happens. I'm out in the community every day. I've knocked on close to 7,000 doors. I'm going to continue knocking on doors. Thank you for your support, and thank the League of Women Voters for having this forum. Thank you very much.